Hey everyone, Jordan Miller here with Run to Gun. Dropping in today, going to be going over my September gear list. The most important things, the main things I'm taking with me on two of my hunts here in a couple weeks this September. Now, the two hunts I'm going to be going on, South Dakota archery deer and New Mexico archery elk. These are the main things I'm taking with me, the prominent items. Most of them have been tested and used over the last several years of my hunting. Not a lot of things are changing for me this year when it comes to my gear list. Really happy with what I'm using. Let's get started. The pack I'm going to be going into my third season using is the KUIU Icon Pro 3200. Has been a really good pack. I've packed out a couple elk with this. Man, I got to be close to 8 or so mule deer over the last couple seasons between me, my wife, my brother, and some friends. Been a great pack. It's held up really well. I actually packed out an oryx with this last, must have been February, down in New Mexico too. So it's been a great pack. Actually got a little blood still on there from the oryx. What's inside the pack? Let's get into a little bit of that. I'm really happy with their suspension system. It's held up pretty dang good. I did hear some horror stories about the durability, but I haven't had any issues with any of the buckles, the straps, and I abuse the heck out of this thing. It's used pretty heavy. What's inside the pack? Pretty basic. I have just some day gear, but a couple of the other items I'm really utilizing on the frequent is my dry bag. So inside, utilizing their big dry bag. I always have this with me for any extra gear. Also, since we're always carrying camera equipment around, I do like to have it as just that little extra backup for putting anything in I need to keep dry. And then I just carry 4 of the, mine are pretty stained up, but the game bags of KUIU's. These are their large size. I carry 4 of those in. Usually my brother has 2 of them. I have 2 of them in my pack for any of the meat carrying out. So dry bags go back in. What else is in the top of the pack that I'm rocking? These are the 4 main things that are in the tops of my pack. I have not really a name brand, but just a little extra charger. I got this at Walmart. Pretty inexpensive, just a little day charger for the cell phone. Any extras, like to carry that along, doesn't weigh much. So I have that in the pack. I also have my phone scope, and I'll be showing you the optics I'm running here that I've been using for the last couple years. Really enjoy having this around. Kind of annoying every once in a while when you're updating. Always have to update if you get a new phone, but have really loved the quality footage I can grab with this. And then just have basic little headlamp there. Okay, this is an REI brand, nothing too fancy again here, but I did get something. I've used some really cheap ones in the past, and do just notice a difference in in the pack getting turned on in my pack, running on my battery. So I did opt to finally spend a few more dollars on this one, and it actually stays shut off my pack. A little bit more low profile, and it's pretty light as well. And then just a little glide stick, because you never know when you might chafe a little bit in September when you're out hiking. We put in a lot of miles, so that's always in the top of the pack as well. This one is just a Glide Outdoor. I got this at Shields, so it's a Body Glide brand. Nothing crazy. That's the main things there in the top of my pack, as well as my water system. This is what I've been using. I just got a new one, so I haven't got it hooked up and washed out yet, but it's just the KUIU Platypus 3-liter water. I've also used just like Walmart brand 3-liter and have had great luck with them as well over the past. So I just kind of use them until they wear out, start getting nasty, and just buy a new one. I usually get a new one every year, so just they're pretty inexpensive, keep them fresh, not try to catch anything. So let's go ahead and move into my optics, since I did talk a little bit about the phone scope and what I'm utilizing. So my 3 main optics that I'm always taking along, not always are they put in the pack. Sometimes they're just left in the truck depending on my need. Like in New Mexico, I'm not taking my Vortex rangefinder very often, just because we're in a lot of heavier timber, just not needed. But in South Dakota, you'll see me running this thing every single day, always taking it with me. This one is the 85 zoom Razor HD. So I've loved the heck out of this, crystal clear. It's been great, used it for a couple seasons. No issues with it, no issues with it at all. and it's on my pack pretty much all the time in South Dakota. In conjunction with that, I'm utilizing the 1556s, again, Vortex brand, and I'm actually running the Vultures, which they're high-end, they are the Kaibabs. I'm running the Vulture, which is just a step down, but I've ran them side by side with the Kaibabs. My co-host Matt's got the Kaibabs, and they're pretty dang comparable for the price difference. These ones are substantially less, and quality is still there. Not quite as crystal as the Kaibabs, but enough that for me, the price difference just made up, and I use some of that money elsewhere. So at some point I probably will upgrade to the Kaibabs, but for now I'm just rocking these Vultures. They've been a great piece of equipment. If you're hunting anywhere backcountry, obviously utilizing the 1556s for scanning, for spotting purposes is absolutely key, and then you can hone in and jump on the spotters to really dictate and pick if you want to go after that animal. Now what I'm running these two on is the Vortex Summit Carbon tripod, and I actually believe this is discontinued. I don't even know if you can buy this anymore. I love it. It's pretty dang light, quick, easy, just turn extenders. Obviously there's a lot of comparables on the market. This is just one that I got from Vortex a couple years ago and I've just absolutely loved, so I haven't moved away from it. I am rocking just the quick attachment there for the binos, but I do have two separate platforms. I keep one always attached to the spotter, and then my other one stays here and goes with the 1556s. That way I'm not always having to change out the platforms, and I can just quick detach and attach when I'm changing it out, because they get changed out non-stop during the day on a hunt. So using that, I've been absolutely happy with that. And then final piece of optic that I'm using, I should say final two that I'm rocking, is I always carry along the 10x42s. Again, Vortex brand, and I actually last year moved into the Furies, which had the built-in rangefinder. Now, I'm not utilizing these near as much during the archery season for the rangefinder purpose. I will. That way I'm not always having to move back and forth from the actual rangefinder. But it's mainly just to have the 10x42s with me during the archery season. During the rifle season, I'm really utilizing that rangefinder. But it still gets used in the archery season if I don't have time, if I'm actually up on the animal and don't have time to switch out to the other rangefinder, I will use that, which is super handy. The glass is crystal in these Furies, so that's one of my main things that I love about these, is I can still scan a little bit and pick out animals pretty dang good for being 10x42s. I'm holstering them in the Sitka Bino Bivy. This is their updated model. It doesn't squeak near as bad or at all compared to their older model. Had a little squeak to it. Other than that, I really liked it, but this model, the updated model, definitely a step up in the Sitka realm. Last piece of optic that I'm utilizing, since we're on the rangefinder topic, is just the Ranger 1500. This is a dated model, obviously, for Vortex, as they've moved up in their handheld Rangers to the 1800 plus. That I just haven't updated. Don't really have a need to right now, so I just keep this because it's literally only being used for like 60 yards and in, 80 yards and in, since I had the Furies. So utilizing that just for the archery season. Moving on, let's get into boot wear. Okay, so last year I moved into a set of Crispies, wanted to try out something different, and so last year I put on, we tried to track most of our miles, but we put on 250 to 300 miles last year on these Crispies. I actually bought the Laponias first, and I put about 60 miles on them in August, and they weren't bad. I wanted something a little more stiff. These are a 3, so I actually got rid of the Laponias and I got these Summit GTXs. I took out their footbed and I put in my own carbon footbed that I picked up at Shields, a lighter weight carbon footbed, and definitely has a support difference. So I definitely suggest, if you get the Crispies, just to tear out those their soles that they got in them. They're pretty thin, and put in something a little bit more substantial for yourself. Other than that, have been a kick butt boot, man. Good solid sole. These GTXs, Summit GTXs, are light as heck. And so for my style of hunting have been really good. And I actually wore these late season as well last year, in November hunting, in December hunting, and I just use the Kenetrek Alaska heavyweight sock with them during the cold weather, and they held up pretty good. If I was sitting too long, toes started getting a little cold, but overall for hiking, for how much mileage we put on, great. What I will be rocking in September though is the Kenetrek. These are the Montana midweights. The reason I'm using the midweights, I do get a little sweaty in them, but I enjoy just that little extra layer on the feet. Just protects the heels, my toes a little bit better. I have used lightweight, like Under Armour socks and lightweight Kenetreks, and the lightweight Kenetreks aren't bad, but I do enjoy the midweight. I do sacrifice a little extra sweat because I figure my feet are gonna sweat anyway. And so I do like having that little extra bit of pad that you get out of these Montana midweights from Kenetrek. Definitely one of the better socks I've used in the last couple of years. Keeping on the gear side of things, moving on to some of what I'm wearing out in the field, what I'll be taking. The main things though, obviously there's other things that can be used in September because of crazy weather at times, depending on what part of the country, but for my South Dakota and New Mexico, what I'm going to be utilizing this year and what I've utilized in the past for several hunts, two different pants that I kind of alternate depending on the day. The Sitka Ascent, so these are the really lightweight, really great movability in these things. They stretch a little bit with you, have some good pockets. They actually have, you can roll up and buckle in, so you can actually kind of have like shorts style if you're out hiking, and you just want to get those pants up or air out a little bit while you're sitting. Along with those, what I'm going to be trying out this year, something a little new for me, is the Territory pant. Now these are actually in their like everyday wear, but I am going to try them out a little bit this year in New Mexico elk hunting, just because I get so dang hot hiking up a lot of these areas that we're in. And these scents are super light anyway, but these are like slightly lighter, still have the great movability. Obviously don't have quite as many features when it comes to like the zip side pockets and things like that you get out of the Ascents, but still come in that flat base colors. And I'm actually going to try these out a little bit. I'll let you guys know how they perform on the mountain versus just wearing them around in the truck or going out to a movie or something. But going to give those a try. That's mainly what I'm wearing for pants. I usually don't have to take anything else in September for pants. Occasionally maybe break out a merino, but very seldom. Usually it's pretty dang warm. The only other pant that will be coming with me is the Sitka Dew Point rain gear pants. Do have a full side zip access. You don't have to pull them all the way off. They're almost like a kind of a coverall style. Super lightweight, don't weigh anything. I actually wore these in Alaska a few years ago on a Sitka blacktail hunt and wore them most of the week. Super durable. I was in some thick, nasty stuff and no tears or rips in them. So I was worried about that with the Dew Points, but have held up great. And obviously to match that, the Dew Point rain jacket. These fold up and compress into super small pockets and don't weigh a dang thing. So these come with me if looks like there's a little rain in the radar. And even a lot of times what me and my buddy Justin down in New Mexico do is sometimes those mornings are a little cool, and instead of packing along a merino and having on a t-shirt and packing the rain jacket, we'll actually ditch the merino, leave it because we're going to sweat so much anyway. We'll just wear our normal t-shirt and then actually wear the Dew Point jacket out for that initial first mile of the hike while it's really cool in those mornings. And then we can just take it off and we still have our rain jacket with us, and we're carrying one less piece of equipment, being the merino top. And that is one other thing that I utilize a lot though in South Dakota is the Merino Quarter Zip from Sitka. Still a lot on those little top knolls, glassing for mule deer. This is great in that first 45 minutes before that sun's really getting up, before it heats up fast. Keeps a little bit of that chill off you. Huge fan of that merino. Underneath that, I am utilizing just the Sitka, their short sleeve t-shirt. I've gone through a ton of these over the years. I've probably bought six to eight of these over the years, I suppose. Use the heck out of them, sweat like crazy, and when I'm hiking those early seasons, so I usually use them for a season or two and just pitch them because they start to hold a little bit of a musk and smell that doesn't come out, so I get rid of them. Lastly, what I do take along sometimes, and this is gearing towards the end of September, or depending on the weather, is the Jetstream Vest from Sitka. Not a lot of insulation there, but a great windbreak. And so you get some of those chilly days, chilly mornings or evenings, late September, and you get a little wind, that nasty wind in South Dakota. We get wind all the time. This breaks it, keeps it off the core. I've been really happy with this. I've had this for like 3 or 4 years, and I hardly used it up until last year, and I used it dang near every day in that last week and a half of September, and all of October I had this on, and I used it almost the entire season. I really noticed my core staying a little bit warmer by utilizing this, so I just kind of stopped being lazy with it and always took it along, and was really happy I did. I was impressed with this year. Really last two pieces of gear here, the gloves. And I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name of these gloves, you guys. These are from Sitka as well. They're almost like a mechanic's glove when it comes to the dexterity and the lightweightness. They got a little bit of the stick on here on the fingertips, super lightweight. They're low cut, so they just go right kind of under the palm. I was just looking on their website looking for the name of these before we jumped on, and I actually didn't see them on their website, so I don't know if they're discontinued or if they're just back ordered right now on them. But if you guys can get a hold of these things for archery hunting, they're like, I think they're called the shooter's glove maybe, but they are stellar because you don't have to take them off when you're shooting archery, and definitely on the rifle seasons you can even pack them along. They're an awesome glove. It's better to have these on than in the wintertime than pull off completely, and then you put your hand on a cold rifle and your fingers just get frostbitten, frigid cold. You can at least have a thin layer on it. They're pretty awesome. They're obviously perfect for early season. Last piece of gear that I keep in my pack is just a little Shemagh. Use this for early season a lot when we're antelope hunting too, and archery deer hunting. I don't really use this in New Mexico as much, but pull it over the head. Sometimes I'm sitting on those top hills just to keep that sun from beating on the neck and the face. Matthew utilizes his way more than I utilize mine, but he actually will cover it in some water from his pack and then throw it over the neck, and he'll stay cool and we're out just glassing all day, especially on these archery antelope hunts where you're really hunting the midday for a lot of these antelope, and you get a lot of that hot sun on you. So great little tool. Also just can be used as doubled up as a little first aid if you need it. If you need a tight compression, anything like that, it does kind of double as that. So we're really getting down here in the gear. I do carry along on our days where we're going to be out all day the Jetboil. A lot of times in New Mexico we're back into camp by noon, 1 o'clock, so I'm not hauling this along. But a lot of times on our archery deer hunts, we just kind of stay out all day. So I will throw this along with preferred food. You know, some people are using the Mountain House, other brands. So I really don't have a preferred brand. I jump around and just try out different things. But I have enjoyed using this. I really didn't start using this a ton until last season. And I got sick and tired of always packing along granola bars and stuff on these day hunts. And I wanted some actual, a little bit more substantial food. Went to this, was really happy with this transition there. So we'll get in final things here. We'll get into my archery setup. Nothing fancy. I'm not what I call an archery expert by any means. I always utilize a professional to tune my bow, make my setup. I just love to shoot it and hunt with it. I don't like to deal with the rest. That's just me. I don't need to be professional at everything, just at what I do. So this is the bow I'm using. I'm going into fall number 3 with this bow. I actually killed the elk here in New Mexico a couple seasons ago at 10 yards with this bow. Killed a couple mule deer with it as well. One of my best mule deer with the bow actually just like 10 days after this bull at 48 yards. This is the Obsession M6Z. I put on 80-pound limbs with this as well. Wanted something that was going to really be rocking for the prairie, my prairie style hunts for the antelope and mule deer out here in South Dakota. I do have on the movable sight here, so it's a 3-pin black gold. So it's sighted in for 30, 40, 50, and then of course this slides up and down for those additional ranges. Have it sighted in up to 100. And have really enjoyed that practicing at longer yardages out in the backyard here in the summer. Definitely has made me a better archer, this setup has. Don't have a fancy stabilizer by any means. This is just one I bought has American flag on it, matches the same pattern, so it's not like a name brand fancy stabilizer or anything. Pretty basic, and then just got the vapor trail strings. So great setup. Going on year 3 with this. I hope we can three-peat. I killed 2 bulls with my bow. Killed this one. Hopefully the same bow will get another chance, and then had great luck the last 2 seasons with spot stock mule deer. Hopefully we can three-peat on that with this bow this year. I am utilizing a Spot Hog back tension release, full size, so it's all fingers. I switched to this when I switched to that bow, so I'm going into season 3 with this, and this has definitely helped me become a little bit archer as well. Then my arrow setup here, you guys. This is a 300 spine full metal jacket from Easton. I do have a total of 500, I think 504 tier on this arrow. I had to go about this heavy in order of shooting those 80-pound limbs with my draw length. Had to go, this was about the lightest I could go, not to be dry firing that bow. And man, let me tell you, they're still flying at about 305 feet per second with that heavy of an arrow. So makes for one heck of an elk spear here, and still kicks butt out on the prairie with these mule deer and antelope we have out here in South Dakota. So a really great all-around arrow. I've had great luck with it. Do have some custom wraps on there. My buddy from Hunts and Outdoors puts these together for me. Custom Live Beyond Average run to gun wraps. Always a little fun. And then I'm topping those arrows off, you guys, with the Rage tri-pans. I use 100 grain tips here. And I started, again, going into 3rd season with these. I started that 1st season and drilled this guy, and he hardly got anywhere before tumbling. Turned around 10 days later, killed my biggest mule deer with it. Again, that mule deer I shot at 48 yards. It went right through him, like blew through him. He jumped like 10 yards, looked up at me, and just tipped over. And then last year, shot another mule deer with it. I am thoroughly impressed with the tri-pan, so I'm sticking with them just because I've had great luck with them. Why move away from something if I'm crushing it with it? So that is my main setup. Oh, final thing, cannot forget, my last water source. Okay, so I'm actually not packing this with me, but it's always in my truck. This is a 64-ounce growler. I have a 128 as well. These are made from Big Frig. They're a company here in South Dakota. A lot of times these are just staying in my truck. I use them for multi-purpose. So if I clean out an animal, I have extra water to wash my hands when I get back to the truck. Obviously, extra drinking water. I can refuel the bladder in my pack if I need to refill it. Between me and Matthew, we're always going through a ton of water. So I do carry the 128 with me a lot of times as well. This one's the 64. Pretty awesome growlers that make it Big Frig. I think that is everything. I think we pretty much got wrapped up with my September gear list. This is a majority of what I'm using, and almost everything here that we talked about today, I have used for several years. I've really put it to the test, and it's just what I like. I'm sure I will update gear over time. Obviously, things always get better. I get curious to try new things. But right now, I really love what I'm using, so I'm sticking to it. I'm hoping for a really successful September. Man, archery deer kicks off here in a few days, not too long, a couple weeks. And then we got like 2 days hunting that, and then we're down to New Mexico for archery elk. I hope I'll be talking to you guys about another one of these bad boys and some more good mule deer with the bow here in September. Thanks for jumping on to the Run to Gun September gear list, what I'm using. Appreciate your time. I would love to know what you're using, what things differently you're going with that has worked well with your experiences. I always love learning new things, getting gear tips from other guys, little things I can add in or take away to save space. So I look forward to hearing from you guys as well. We'll talk to you soon.